Sorry?
I hear a whistling noise.
Okay.
Hello to everyone. Hopefully your New Year's was all nice. Nice to see everybody.
You too, Joe. Thanks.
To Joe. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, same to you, Steve.
Happy New Year, Steve.
Happy New Year, everybody.
It's 7:30. I'd like to call the planning board meeting of January 5th, 2021 to order. If everybody could please rise to salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag.
to the flag
United States,
United States of America,
Republic,
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Old Bridge Township Planning Board has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of the meeting by prominently posting in the municipal complex an announcement giving the time, date, location of the meeting, mailing such announcement to the Home News and Tribune, and filing a copy of such announcement with the municipal clerk. Mr. De Palma?
Here.
Mr. Renna?
Here.
Mr. Lauer?
Here.
Mr. Mamakis?
here.
Mr. Marucci?
Here.
Mr. Schmitz?
Here.
Mr. Lenning?
Here.
Mr. Pink?
Here,
Ms. Cannon?
here.
Mr. Petty?
Here.
Mr. Garcia? Mr. Garcia, can you unmute yourself, please? Mr. Sordillo?
Here.
Ms. Sawant?
Here.
Mr. Dargy?
Present.
Mr. Lavallo?
Present.
Okay. I'm going to start the meeting off by taking nomination for chairperson.
I'd like to nominate Dean Marucci as chairperson of the planning board.
I second.
Okay. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis?
Yes,
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Pink?
yes,
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Okay, I will now turn the meeting over to the new chairman.
Okay, thank you. I'm honored.
Congratulations.
And thank you, Barbara. I have some big shoes to fill. Thanks, everybody.
congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, and as vice chairperson, I would like to nominate Barbara Cannon.
I'll second it. Attorney.
Okay. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis?
Yes,
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Pink?
yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Chairman
Thank you.
Marucci?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and do I have a nomination for secretary?
Casey.
Dawn.
I'm
Casey
sorry, I
Lennon.
missed that. Who was it?
Dawn, aren't you
Casey.
the secretary?
I'm vice secretary.
Or you're the vice secretary?
Casey
Oh,
Lennon. Casey
Okay.
Lennon.
Nominate Casey Lenning.
I second.
All right.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes. And then as vice secretary, I would like to nominate Dawn Borberly.
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, next would be the board attorney, which is DeFrancesco, Bateman, Coley, that whole long line. Basically Joe.
Basically. Aye.
I'll move it.
And I'll
Second.
second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yeah.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, then we have our traffic engineers, which will be CME, Environmental Resolutions, NIAC, Brightview Engineering, and Nigerian Associates.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, next we have consultant engineers, which is Environmental Resolutions, CME Associates, Delaware Raritan Engineering, Harbor Consultants, and Remington Vernick Engineering.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, next is consultant planners, which would be Environmental Resolutions, CME Associates, and Remington Vernick Engineering, and Harbor Consultants. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, the arborist would be Chestnut Arboriculture,
Move
I'll
it.
move it.
And I'll second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay. Now you're up to your subcommittees. The first one we have is the Minor Subdivision Site Plan Committee. Last year, we had Ernie Schmitz, Mayor Henry, or Mr. Mamakis, and Ed Lauer. Do you want to make any changes to that? Is there anybody, it's the board's preference.
Keep it the same.
Sounds the same. Good.
Okay, I just need a motion on that one then.
I'll move it.
Barbara?
I'll second it.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, next one is the master plan. The members last year were Barbara Cannon, Ernie Schmitz, Mayor Owen Henry, or Steve Mamakis, whoever was available. I need to know the board's preference. Keep it the same. You want to make changes?
Keep it the same.
Make it easy. I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, the open space last year was Casey Lenning.
Casey, you want to keep it?
Yeah, please.
I'll second it.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, and the last one I have is the Land Development Ordinance Committee. The previous members were Barbara Cannon, Mayor Henry, or Mr. Mamakis, and Dean Marucci.
Keep it the same?
Stay with it.
Okay. I need a motion in a second.
I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, now we're up to the schedule, and I'm turning everything over to the new chairman.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay, we'll open, Dawn, we open with on the agenda, it shows a discussion for the 2021 tentative planning board schedule.
Yeah, we have to discuss that because in November and December, I didn't know the board's preference on meeting schedules as it went with Joe's schedule. We could either do 2 meetings in October, 1 meeting at the end of November for the November meeting, and for December, either the 7th or the 21st.
7th or 21st.
I'd pick the
Oh,
7th
count.
for December.
Yeah, I would say in December, I would say the 7th as well.
Joe, are you available on the 7th?
Yes, I'm available in December 7th.
Okay. And
And
then
then
as far as the October meeting, we have the October 5th, and I can either do the November meeting as October 19th or November 30th. That's the board's preference.
I can just advise, I'm unfortunately not available on October 19th. I have another meeting that's scheduled that evening.
Okay,
I
I'm
mean, I
good
can
with
find
30th.
coverage from my office if it's better for the board. I
Yeah.
just feel like the
Yeah,
board.
was that
Make
coverage?
aware.
That was a question.
Yeah,
Is everybody good with November 30th?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think we should keep the same, have the same attorney. I think that would be disruptive if we have to get somebody else in. So,
Okay,
Okay, so if we keep it November 30th, then I will revise the schedule, and if the board can vote on it for those those dates, then I can publish this in the newspaper.
okay, so we're looking at November 30th and December 7th.
Right. Even though it's a week apart, I don't know how that's gonna work.
yeah.
They're basically a week apart.
Was there one, the one earlier in November he can't do, the attorney can't do?
Within, that's council meeting.
And no, but wasn't there, what was the other date that the attorney couldn't make?
October
October
19th.
October 19th.
Oh, that was in October. Okay.
Yep.
November is a hard month to get meetings in because of Election Day and the holidays.
So even if we went with October 19th, it would be squeezed close to October 5th. So, you pick your poison.
Right.
And I'm good with November 30th.
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, if,
They just won't have a resolution. If there's an approval, we won't have a resolution ready for the next meeting.
that's fine.
Okay, so do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
And a
I'll second it.
Okay, Barbara?
Yeah, second.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renner,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes. Okay, then we move on to the approval of the 2021 rules and regulations.
So what has changed that? Only that we're having the meetings now the second? Now that we have to change the meeting schedule?
That would be Joe. He would be able to tell you what he changed in the bylaws.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Joe, you muted yourself.
Yeah, you mute.
Sorry about that. Let me just get those in front of me. What I did was add some language in the meeting schedule section to address when we hold these meetings virtually. A lot of the language in the bylaws specifically stated in-person meetings. So I added the fact that we can hold them virtually and that they just will be in, and it's in section, let's see, where did I do it? Rule 1.2. I added a paragraph that discussed that in the event that an in-person meeting is not feasible due to any current, ongoing, or future public health emergency, that the planning board can hold its meetings virtually pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, as well as the emergency regulations and the local government services regulations that are in place governing these types of meetings. So I just wanted to add that in there, since we now know that we hold these meetings sometimes virtually, that our bylaws are in compliance with that.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, any other changes?
Those are the only changes I added.
Okay. Any other input from anybody? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second
I'll second it.
by Mr. Pink.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renner,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes. Okay, so we close that out and we move on to the regular agenda. And first on the regular agenda is a resolution 62-2020P, 92 Route 34 LLC Glow Car Wash, the major site plan, preliminary and final with C variances.
I'll move it. Ernie.
Okay,
Do we
Ernie,
want to hear from our professionals?
I'm sorry, Steve?
Do we want to hear from our professionals, or we're good?
So Vina, I have a question on this. What is different, or has anything changed from the last time that we met?
No, nothing has changed in the resolution. There were some minor tweaks, especially as to what was asked by me and then Nicole, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, from my original draft that was circulated, there was just a couple, couple typos and grammatical errors that were needed to be corrected. And then in paragraph 34, Vina and I discussed and added just some language to clarify exactly what was being suggested by her in connection with the moving of the parking by the exit to the tunnel.
So it was bullet 34. I believe it is page 6. So that was the only paragraph that was tweaked. And I know Nicole had 2 grammatical errors that were fixed, but that's all that was changed.
Okay, and I have a question. At the last meeting, we approved it based on several contingencies. Has the applicant agreed to the contingencies, and are we moving forward with the approval?
Nicole has spoken with the engineer, their applicant's engineer, and she is satisfied that they are going to meet her requirements that she raised, her concerns, I should say, that she raised during the meeting. So those still remain, in the resolution still remains a condition of approval. So that she sent an email out to me, I think it was earlier today, or it might have been yesterday, advising that she had discussed it with them and she's comfortable moving forward.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, Chairman Marucci, actually, Nicole and I spoke, and Joe is correct. I think it was this afternoon that she sent an email after she spoke to the engineer, and she said that they have agreed to, address her comments. So she was good with issuing the resolution.
Excellent. Okay, just wanted to clarify that because I know there were some issues from last meeting.
So Nicole and their engineers met, and they seem to have worked out what they needed to. And
Yes,
based off that conversation, has any changes, or do any changes need to be made to this?
No, actually, she went through the resolution and she verified the resolution does not need to be altered.
Okay.
And she actually spoke to them. They didn't meet.
Okay, very good. Any other questions from the board? Okay, now Dawn, do we ask for a motion for the resolution?
Yeah, I need a motion in a second and then I'll take roll.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Lenning, second by Mr. Payne.
Mr. De Palma,
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Renner,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Abstain.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes. Okay, next up is Resolution 53-2020P, K. Hovnanian of Old Bridge, amended preliminary and final site plans with C variance. Mr. Sordillo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The resolution was drafted, circulated. It was circulated between the the board professionals as well as the applicants. The applicant had a few, once again, just minor typographical comments, and was acceptable to the resolution. And I didn't receive any further comments from the board's professionals.
Okay, excellent. Any input from any of the board professionals? Okay, and any of the board members? Oh, I'm sorry?
I have none.
Okay, and from the board members?
Cash?
No, I was just saying, I did review the resolution that our solicitor circulated, and I had no other modifications or corrections to add.
Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll put it to motion.
Move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Lauer and seconded by
Mr. Mamakis.
Mr. Mamakis.
Mr. Renner,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes. Okay, now we move on to the applications and first.
We have the escrow, we have one more resolution for escrow deficiency.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't see that on my.
The new agenda was emailed out this afternoon, so it's
Yeah, and
also,
then-
it's
yeah,
also on Novus.
Yeah, I printed it and it doesn't, I don't see it.
It's an escrow deficiency for K Hovnanian 53-2020P in the amount of 5,000 and Machaponics Estates for $2,500. Neither of which payments have been made yet.
So do we just, we're just approving something that has a deficiency?
The board has to pass the resolution in order to allow me to collect the deficient fees.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Frank Petrino for Machaponics. I sent the secretary yesterday and the board attorney just now a copy of the check that was Federal Expressed yesterday. We don't control Federal Express, but you have a copy of the check for $2,500, and I would not think that it would be appropriate not to hear our application tonight. This application has been pending for a very, very, very long time.
Okay, is there a tracking number?
I do have an email with the copy of the check that I'm looking at right now that came in.
I'm sorry, did you get the copy?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you.
And you're comfortable with that, Mr. Sordillo?
Yes. I mean, it's a copy of the check. It's not, if it just didn't come in by the mail, we do have it here. So unless there's an objection from the board, I'm comfortable that we can move forward because, it is something that the applicant did pay. It just didn't come through the mail yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
We still have to pass the resolution though.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, do I have a motion? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Can we do them together? I'll just move it, the two of
Yes,
them.
it's one resolution.
Okay, I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Cannon
Second.
and second by Mr. Lanning.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I apologize, but on the copy of my agenda I printed out, I don't show those. Okay, so moving on to the regular applications, we have 10-2020P RD Management, Major Site Plan Preliminary and Final. I understand that they have requested a continuance.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Kenneth Pape, the attorney for RD Management. Good evening. Good evening. There is a request that the matter be carried to February 2nd. This morning, January 5th, this morning, we received two substantial memoranda, one co-authored by Mr. Rakesh Darji and Deanna Drum. That was substantial, and a second that was authored by Venus Sawant. I met with the applicant and the applicant professionals today. We spent the better part of the day reviewing it. Time to respond to the comments that were presented to us this morning. We will ask for an opportunity to meet with your professionals and ask that you accept jurisdiction this evening and carry us to February 2nd, 2020.
Okay, Dawn, we have room on that February meeting?
Yes, that's fine.
That's good. Okay, so we'll move that.
If you could, Mr. Chair, we request that jurisdiction be established for the board taking our notices this evening, and we ask that we be carried to February 2nd.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I had received a copy of the public notices that was provided, and it appears to be in order.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
A second?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Lauer, second by Mr. Pink.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just announce to the public, there may be some members of the public here for this application, just so that they're aware. This application is being carried to the February 2nd Planning Board meeting. No further public notice will be provided. So this is your notice that this hearing, if you want to be heard and listen to this application, that you have to come to the February 2nd Planning Board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Sordillo.
Mr. Chair and members of the board and all board professionals, thank you all and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Pape.
Right.
Night.
Okay, and next on the agenda is application 37-2020P Matchaponics Estates, minor subdivision. Anyone here from Matchaponics?
Yeah, please.
Harry.
Mr. Petrino, I think you are muted.
Yes, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Old age. Thank you. For the record, my name is Frank Petrino. I'm with the law firm of Eckert Siemens. We represent the applicant Matchaponic Estates, Inc. This is an application for minor subdivision approval. The property in question is approximately 6.25 acres in size. It encompasses 4 existing tax lots. Those lots are currently zoned R20. We're proposing to consolidate those lots and create 2 new lots, lot 1411 and lot 2911. I really don't have much more of an introduction. I'd like to go to our engineer, Sharif Ali. He can take you through this application, I think, relatively quickly. We've laid out, I don't know if it was distributed or not. We have what I call a script or a presentation summary. We're gonna take you through that, and hopefully we can get through that rather quickly. And I don't know if you have any other applications, but maybe this will be an early night for you. In any event, our first witness is Sharif Ali. If he could be sworn in. Hello?
Yes. Mr. Sordillo.
Sharif, are you on?
Thank you. Sorry.
Sharif?
Got a few problems
Yes.
today.
Yes, I see. Okay. And you have your right hand raised. Do you swear that the testimony you're going to give this evening is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sharif Ali, A-L-Y.
Mr. Ali, by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm the president of Amertech Engineering, and we here in North Brunswick.
Okay. What's your educational background and what licenses do you hold in the state of New Jersey that are current?
Professional engineer in the state of New Jersey and still current. And if you want me to go through my qualification, I have been before the board before. Excuse me, before the board, and but I don't mind. I can go through my qualification.
Just quickly, your educational background.
Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from New Jersey Institute of Technology back in 82. 89, I received my license, and since then, that's all I do for a living, site plan and subdivisions.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if the board is familiar with Mr. Ali. I know he's testified in Old Bridge before. I would offer him as an expert unless you want additional testimony on his qualifications.
No, I think we're comfortable with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Now, Sharif, did you prepare or supervise the preparation of the minor subdivision plan last revised, if my eyes could work, October 12, 2020.
You got it. Yes,
Okay. And this was submitted to the board on October 16, 2020, correct?
that is correct.
Okay. So rather than take you through a Q&A, why don't you explain to the board why we're here and what we're seeking tonight?
Absolutely. So just for the record, we are talking about tax map lot 1 in block 24202 and lots 14 and 29 and 30 in block 24303.
Can I stop you for a minute,
Sure.
Sharif? Can we put up the subdivision map, or are you able to do that at your end, Mr. Chairman?
I should, Mr. Petrino, I should be able to do that. Just bear with me for a second.
Thank you. I think it'd just be easier if we have that up.
Sure.
Here we go.
Wow. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm not sure this is the most current one, but I don't think it really makes a difference. The only difference is you'll see it says new lot 1401. Actually, we were given different lot numbers, and that on the most current plan, which is exactly identical to this in terms of the lot configuration, that's now referred to as lot 1411. And the second lot, which on this plan is described as lot 2901, actually on the most current plan is 2911. But other than the change in those two ways of defining or characterizing or identifying those lots, the map is the same. So unless the board's attorney has a problem, I don't have a problem with moving ahead with this exhibit.
No, this is an exhibit that was submitted to the board in connection with this the application. So as long as it's identified what's different between this and the most recent version, I'm fine with that as long as the board is, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, Sharif. Can you continue?
Yes. So this is a minor subdivision. We like to call it as engineers a lot line adjustment. 3 lots that will I'm sorry. Yes, 4 lots that will be adjusted to 2 lots. The lot 14, that is the lot nearby Palomino. So let me take you back. So we in the area of Whitenbrook subdivision, as well as Rocky Creek subdivision. We have frontage on Colorado Boulevard. Colorado Boulevard, if you leave in the site and you're heading east, you'll be coming out into Old Bridge, Englishtown Road. That's 527. We also have frontage on Palomino. That is the 2 roads to the east and to the west of the subject lots. To the area to the north, where you see lot 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 13, that is Whitenbrook subdivision. And they all occupy with homes on it. Lot 14 is a vacant lot, and that was also part of Whitenbrook subdivision. So that is a vacant lot and it cannot be developed until we do this minor subdivision. And there was a reason for that. And that reason is being indicated on the subdivision, on the final plat. Lot 1, Lot 1 as well as 29 and Lot 30, they all owned by Matchbonics Estate. Lot 14 is owned by Woodhaven Estates. So just for clarification as far as to the ownership. Lot 1, again, all the lots are vacant, 1, 14, 29, and Lot 30, they're all vacant lots. There is no construction is proposed here as part of this lot line adjustment or a minor subdivision. We're not proposing any clearing or any land disturbance at all. So that's as far as the location of the subject lots. Lot 29 and Lot 30 combined, they have about 1.7 acres. That's Lot 29 is 1.55 acres. Lot 30 is 1.67. Lot 14, as exists right now, has 1.63 acres. The interesting part of Lot 14 is that Lot 14 to the has frontage on Palomino. That's to the area to the west there, as you see it on the map, and also has frontage on Palomino, also to the area, the road on the east side. So it has fingers that goes between 29 and Lot 30 and frontage again on Palomino, the area to the east. And that's the reason Lot 14 cannot be constructed or be improved until the fingers are being removed. Lot 1, that was part of Rocky Creek subdivision and was supposed to be dedicated to the town as open space. Lot 1 is about 1.4 acres. So that is the current conditions out there. The area that you see shaded in gray, that's an existing stone gravel area. And there is a paved driveway that comes out of Colorado, traverse through Lot 1, the east side of Lot 1, and goes into that gray area that is located on Lot 29 and Lot 30. Our proposed subdivision, the minor subdivision, is basically cutting the fingers and the frontage from Lot 14 and from Lot 14 and basically brings Lot 14 from 1.63 acres to 1 acres with an area along the frontage along Colorado that will be restricted for any further subdivision and also will contain conservation easement. So that's as far as Lot 14 and will be designated or be assigned in the future as 14.11. The rest of the site, Lot 29, Lot 30, and Lot 1, and what's left out of Lot 14 will all be combined into one large lot in the future will be assigned as 29.11. And that's about 5.26 acres. And the purpose of that would be a future subdivision on lot 29.11. And as part of that future subdivision, lot 1, which was supposed to be dedicated to the town as an open space, lot 1 as that's 1.4 acres, as well as an additional 0.4 acres that will bring it up to 1.8 acres. Will maintain to be open space and will be owned and maintained by the future homeowner association that will be owned by these future lots within lot 29.11. There is
of course, Sharif, of course, all that is subject to a future application and subject to board review and approval.
Absolutely. Future application, review, second bite of the apple, and yes, and obviously for engineering. So that's our subdivision. Palomino, Colorado, and the other Palomino, they all have drainage system. They have sanitary sewer, they have water, they have gas, electric, everything that was constructed as part of Woodhaven and Marchbank Estates.
Okay, Sharif, just a couple of questions. One, if the board were to approve the minor subdivision, we would perfect it by recording a plan, and that plan would be signed by the both of the owners. That would be Matchaponics and Woodhaven, correct?
Yeah, we can file by a plan or we can file by deeds.
No, we're going to file by plan.
You got it.
Okay. And then, Mr. Chairman, just to give you a little background, and Vina has been part of these discussions, the area to be maintained as an open space lot, under the prior approval, it was dedicated to the township, never accepted by the township. And in discussions with your planner and the township attorney, Mark Roselli, we learned that the township's preference would be that when this open space lot is created, again, that would be part of the major subdivision if the board approved it. When it was created, that lot would not be accepted by the township. The preference was that it not become a township obligation to maintain and control, and that at that time, and the HOA that would be formed would own it, maintain it, and do that in lieu of the township acquiring that responsibility. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of background because that at the beginning of the process of the minor subdivision approval, and actually before we filed our application, we had those meetings, at least 2 meetings with staff and Mr. Roselli, and the issue of how to handle the open space lot was discussed, and I believe the planner can verify that the township did not want to accept dedication. And Mr. Roselli also made it very clear to me that if minor subdivision was granted, that it would have to be subject to the adoption of, and I'm not sure if it's an ordinance or a resolution by the township committee, that it did not wish to accept dedication of the open space lot, and in lieu of that would request that ownership and maintenance of the lot be performed, and the obligation of a homeowners association. So with that, Mr. Chairman, unless there are questions for Mr. Ali or me, that is our presentation on this application.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just so I'm clear for the, if it is approved and I'm preparing the resolution, just to be what is to what Mr. Petrino had just discussed. So is it, from what I understand, and just I'm going to state it, and then you could tell me if I stated anything wrong, because this is how I'm going to word it otherwise in the resolution, that the portion that the original lot 1, the portion that will be now become 14.11 and lot 29.01, that is still going to be remained as open space, either through a conservation easement or some type of deed restriction, but it's not going to be dedicated to the town any longer, because the township's indicated that it does not want to accept that, and it will memorialize such decision in either a resolution and ordinance, which would be a condition of the board's approval.
Right. Just one or two comments.
Okay.
One, the open space lot is currently lot 1, and it would remain part of the large lot 2911. And then in the future, it would be further subdivided if the board approved it to create an open space lot. Lot 14.11 is a developable lot. And what we're doing now is creating a smaller lot 14, now 1411, but we've restricted the ability to further subdivide that lot, which is consistent with the prior approval. So 1411 becomes effectively a lot for which someone could apply for a building permit. And lot 2911 is a large lot, which we will seek to further subdivide to create additional house lots that conform to the R20 zone. And we will create a new lot 1, which I think will be larger. I think it'll be 1.8 acres. And that 1.8 acre lot will be deed restricted, cannot be further developed. It will probably have a detention basin on it and also be preserved as open space. I don't know if that helped, hurt, or.
No, that helped very much. My only further question is looking at the plans. I do see on lot 1411, it does have an indication. It says portion of lot 1 to be annexed to proposed lot 1411 and maintained as conservation easement. That's why I mentioned conservation easement.
Well, again, it's going to be owned by the HOA. It's going to be deed restricted as open space with the exception of the potential for a detention basin. But it will be deed restricted against further subdivision. So it will maintain, it will always be an open space lot. It'll never be a buildable house lot.
No, I understand that's with lot 1, that would be the future subdivision. I'm talking about the new lot 1411 that would be creating and as subject to this approval. If you look over where it says lot line to be removed, right underneath it on the plan, it says portion of lot 1 to be annexed to proposed lot 14. And I'm looking at the older plan, so it says 1401, but 1411 and maintained as a conservation easement. So I know what you're saying is 1411, if approved this evening, will be creating a new buildable residential lot. On that lot, not the bigger lot that's going to be the future subdivision, on the 1411, I understand there's going to be a deed restriction from any future subdivision of that lot as well, but it also references a conservation easement. Is that correct, or is there not going to be a conservation?
Well, now you've gone beyond my
That is correct.
my information. Sharif, can you answer that?
Yes, that is correct. Yes, you're right on. Yes.
With a question.
That's what I just wanted to make sure I was clear. Thank you.
Yes, you are.
Okay, if I could just interject with a quick question. 1411, the proposed 1411, upon this proposed approval, will only front on Palomino, correct? Not on Colorado? It's no longer a corner lot.
We'll front on both. However, the frontage on Colorado will be that will be maintained as a conservation easement.
Okay.
So,
but
yes,
there will be no driveway access or anything off of there.
No driveway access. No.
Okay.
That's a conservation area. Yes.
Understood. Okay. That further clarifies it in my mind because this is a bit confusing.
Yes.
And maybe Vina can clarify a bit and kind of wrap a bow around this.
It is on the plan and it's very clear on the plan. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if it can help, or if it helps, I can only add one fact that lot 14, as it's configured today, is 1.4 acres, and as reconfigured will be 1 acre. So,
1 acre. Yeah.
right.
Understood. And the frontage technically changes because you can't access then off of Colorado. So it ceases to become technically a buildable corner lot.
In the prior approval, we just had to, create the lot and then deed restrict it in order to be, in order for it to become a buildable lot.
Okay, Vina, do you have any input?
Yes, sure. So actually, I did a lot of research on this subdivision because it has a long history. And I know board members at the last meeting when it was scheduled for a minor sub had reached out to me. And it was more like, we don't understand what's going on. There's a lot of history involved. It's not clear. So actually, I have a couple of exhibits, and I think it might help the board understand the project better. But this whole thing started last year around June of 2019 when Mr. Petrino and his client came in to meet Rakesh and me with the subdivision plans. And then subsequently we had another meeting in probably 2 months to include the township attorney at that meeting and try to understand the project, because there were multiple projects involved. There was Winding Brook, there was Rocky Creek. And so it was very important for me, who has come in much later. I think Rakesh has more history on certain properties in Old Bridge than I have. So I had to do a lot of research. I went through previous resolutions, approvals on Rocky Creek and Winding Brook. And actually I tried to explain it as much as possible in my memo, but I'll just walk you through it again. This is basically the lot configuration. This is lot 14 here, which was created as part of the Winding Brook subdivision. But if you notice, lot 14 wraps around lot 29 and 30. When the Winding Brook subdivision happened, lot 29 and 30 was not owned by Matchaponix Estate or Woodhaven. And so these were left alone. However, there was a condition placed at the approval that lot 14 could be built only after it is satisfactorily subdivided, because right now you see this is an odd shaped lot. So they cannot build on lot 14 unless they satisfy the planning board with a subdivision line. So which means that they probably chop it off here. Then there was lot 1, which is right along Colorado Boulevard, which was created as part of the Rocky Creek subdivision. And this lot 1 was meant to be dedicated to the township. The lot was never dedicated to the township. So there's a correction. It's not that the township didn't accept it, but it was never dedicated to the township. And there were 3 easements. There is an easement here, which is an access easement, probably meant to give access to lot 29 and 30. Then there are 2 utility easements right here. And then there is another easement that runs along Colorado Boulevard. So when we met a couple of times and I went through all the history, we just came up with common consensus that probably one thing's for sure, that this lot 1 that was meant to be dedicated and preserved as open space should be retained and preserved as open space. So now give me 1 second, I'm going to just change my screen. here's the new subdivision. This is the newly created lot 14.11, and this is the new lot after lot 29, 30, and a portion of lot 1 is merged with this lot to create lot 29.11. If you notice this dotted line, that is the line for the open space that was meant to be dedicated. So we asked the applicant to preserve. So if you're talking about lot 14, there will be a subdivision line that will create this lot 14.11. However, this portion of the lot, which was meant to be dedicated as open space, we said that should the board act favorably on this application, this area should be preserved as open space. So there should be a conservation easement so that there is no further subdivision of this lot. And then what remains in this parcel is this remainder lot 1, which again will be preserved as open space. But if the board recollects, somewhere in the middle of last year, Nicole and I came in front of the board, we went in front of the council, and we amended chapter 250-78, the stormwater management ordinance, wherein we changed the language to say that the township will no more be taking any open space dedications because there's a cost involved in maintaining these open spaces. If a developer is creating an HOA, creating open space, putting the detention basin or the stormwater basin on it, it should be his responsibility, or he should create an HOA to manage that facility. It shouldn't be the township's facility. So we did tell Mr. Petrino that that would be the case now. We would not accept any dedications. However, remember, the dedication was a requirement of the Rocky Creek subdivision. So should the board act favorably, I have added a condition that Mr. Petrino would have to make that request to the council. I will go in front of the council, present the application to them, and we will request that the council denies it because it's a formality so that they comply with the original application. And then this, when they come in with the future subdivision of lot 29.11, they would have to create an HOA or an open space dedication. From what I understand, and Mr. Petrino, you can chime in, Sharif, you can chime in too, the new open space that would be created on the proposed lot 29.11 would be equal to the existing lot 1 or even more than existing lot 1. But this is basically, this is what the subdivision is. I can take in any questions. I know Rakesh is here. He has been a part of all the discussions too, so he can chime in if the board should have any questions related to the subdivision.
Well, if I can just quickly answer the question about lot 1. Lot 1 currently is 1.4 acres. And under a new configuration, if approved by the board, it would become 1.8 acres. So the open space lot would actually increase in size by about 0.4 of an acre. And then there would be house lots created in the overall 2911. But again, that's not, although I think we've talked about it with staff, and maybe even maybe they've even seen proposed major subdivision plans. We haven't formally filed that application. We wanted to wait for tonight and then file after tonight if the minor subdivision was approved.
Mr. Petrino, I just have one question.
Sure.
With the proposed lot 29.11, when the open space is created and the HOA agrees to maintain, HOA maintains the open space, what happens if at some point in future the HOA comes back? Actually, it's a question to Joe too, because what if the HOA comes back to us after a couple of years and says the township should now take over this open space? I think that somewhere in in the resolution, we have to ensure that at no point will the township be taking such dedications, because in the past we have noticed that Nicole and I get such requests from HOAs that they're not able to maintain it, and would the township be willing to take it?
Well, I think there's a practical response, and that is not a big part, but there will be a detention basin on that lot. So the HOA is going to have an obligation and will need to maintain the open space lot because they want to maintain their stormwater management system. They're not going to want flooding in the area of the lot. So I think as a practical matter, we're not going to come back and ask. I thought I just heard that you adopted an ordinance that said you would not take them. So that, I mean, we could put language that your attorney could, again, this is the next application, but we could put language in the homeowner association documents, the declaration that, the association understands that this is an obligation that they have and that it can't be transferred to the township. Beyond that, I'll let your attorney tell you how enforceable that is, but that at least is an expression of how we understand the situation and that we will not go back to the township. Now, I can't tell you what's going to happen 50 years from now, but certainly we don't intend to come back to the township and ask the township to maintain the open space portion of the lot or the basin on the lot. We're going to maintain those.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I actually agree. I think that's the best way of handling it would be to include language in the resolution of including, in fact, just this discussion. So it's very clear in the resolution what the position of the board and the township is. We can include language in the HOA as well. If approved and the next application is approved, we can include language in that as well to show the intent and but nothing could stop the HOA from coming to the town and asking, even if we include it and say you can't, that's not something that's really, an enforceable term necessarily. But if it's very clear what the intent of the board is on its approval and where the township's, then in 50 years, the township committee at that time can see it. But if they disagree, they can change it, just like the board could, amend an approval it granted, sometime in the future as well. Because in essence, if granted, this approval does in essence amend those prior approvals with regard to this lot 1 being dedicated to the township. And I agree with Vina as to her recommendation on the condition on how to handle it so that it's very clear that they make the application to the township. So there is a clear paperwork, a clear trail showing that we're not really going back in time to try to amend it, but in essence we are, because we're creating a new process to show and allowing a different type of situation to happen from the prior board's approval. So this, in the same essence, we can put forth what the board's intention is at this time and what the approval is conditioned upon. And then, 50 years from now, the governing body and the planning board can do with that as it will.
Thank you, Joe. I just have one last question. Sorry, Chairman. I just have one last question. And it's actually related to the easements that are existing on existing lot 1, because I know when we met the applicant, there were some discussions that they wanted to vacate 2 of the utility easements and expand the access easement. However, I didn't see that as part of this application. So would that be a part of this application, or do you intend to vacate or ask for vacation of those when you come in for the major subdivision?
I believe the latter. I think when we come in, we'll deal with those. We do want to increase the size of the access easement, and I'll leave to engineers and others what we want to do with the other easements. But I think they're best dealt with when we're looking at the engineered major subdivision plan and can determine whether those easements have to be maintained or vacated.
Sure, thank you.
I hope that answers it.
Yes, thank you. And there was one last comment about the wetlands on the property. I believe when you come with a major subdivision, you would be applying for an LOI.
There's already pending applications with DEP that were decisions were being deferred pending the outcome of this minor subdivision request. We're dealing with Tina Wolf at DEP, and she's been working with us because our application there has been pending for a while. And now I think we can, unless Sharif tells me otherwise, I think now we can get them to finalize action on our applications.
Thank you, board. That's all from me.
Okay, any other questions or comments or input from our board professionals?
Mr. Chairman, this is Rakesh. I guess Bina did an excellent job of covering pretty much, the entire review letter. We did co-author this review letter. There are just some technical comments, Mr. Petrino. I imagine there's no objection to making these modifications that are recommended as far as the changes to the plan and the monumentation and all those other things that are noted in the letter.
Sharif, you have any issues?
Not at all. We will agree to all the the recommendation and the letters. Yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. As long as we're good with the letter, then I have nothing else to offer. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
And,
I have a question.
Any questions or
I have a
input from
question.
the board members?
I have a question.
Okay,
Let's circle back in time a bit, just to refresh or to allow some of our new members to understand. These were the two parcels that had some buildings on them, correct? Am I mistaken? They had some older buildings that wanted to build on top of those buildings or use the foundations to those. Am I mistaken or correct?
No, there is no foundations there.
There's no buildings on those parcels.
No. As I stated before, the 4 lots are vacant lots.
Okay, so now on the 4 lots, is it proposed 4 lots to be sold as 4 lots? 4 separate homes to be built?
No.
No.
1411 will be, if the minor subdivision were approved, 1411 would be available as a buildable lot. The other lot, 2911, is in excess of 5 acres, and that is not something that we're going to build on. We're going to file a major subdivision application to divide that into R20 lots, and on the open space lot, there'll be open space and a portion of the stormwater management system for this small subdivision. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Now the question is, so we're looking at, I guess, probably 5 homes or 6 homes within this subdivision?
As laid out, and again, it's hasn't been submitted, it hasn't been reviewed by your people. We're proposing 6 house lots and the open space lot. Or no, I should say we will be proposing 6 R20 lots and the open space lot.
So I remember hearing 4 at one point in time, but I could be wrong. So we're at 6 now in that particular area.
I'll let Sharif respond, but as I've seen the plan and it has 6 lots, and I believe they're all conforming lots, but that's for your staff to confirm. But my reading of the draft of the major subdivision plan is that it would be 6 R20 lots and the 1 open space lot of 1.8 acres.
Yes, I would like to clarify that. So when I made a reference to 4 lots, I was making a reference to the existing tax map lots, which is lot 14, 29, 30, and 1. That's 4 lots. But the future lots that will be coming out of out of the future subdivision from the future lot 29.11 will be, so far is being laid out as 6 future lots and 1 additional lots for open space and detention basin.
That'll be a separate application down the
It
line.
will be a completely separate application that will be subject to full review by your board, your staff, as well as agencies outside your town.
So one lot is to be sold, if this application was approved, one lot would be sold as one home on that lot. How's that?
It could be sold. I mean, I don't
Could
know
be
what, I don't know if it, you know, when it would go on or when it would be put on the market, but yes, one lot would theoretically be available for purchase. The 1411, which is a 1 acre lot.
So then automatically that one home will be the homeowners association?
No, that home, it will not be part of the homeowners association. The 6 lots, I'm sorry, the 6 houses that would be part of the major subdivision application that we hope to file shortly, those 6 homes would make up the homeowners association, and they would be obligated to fund the cost to maintain the open space and maintain the detention basin.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Petrino, what is the acreage? Forgive me for not writing it down, on the remainder, on the proposed major subdivision you're coming in for.
I'll tell you in just 1 minute.
I can give you that. The future lot 29.11 will have 5.26 acres.
And what portion of that will be the detention basin?
1.8 acres will be the open space lot, which would contain a detention basin.
So you're left with a shade under 4 acres for 6 lots.
Right. And I think the R20 is what, a half acre well, as we used to refer, builder's half acre, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just kind of getting an idea of what's coming.
Yeah, and that's basically all I was trying to determine, how many houses would be on this lot and how 6 houses can, have an HOA and be able to afford that open space. As a president of my association, I understand the challenges HOAs have.
Well, when we sell, we'll have to, we'll prepare a budget and people will understand. I mean, if what the, maintenance costs will be, it shouldn't be that significant. We're not doing, it's not like we're doing snow plowing and other things that I'm fighting with my association about, because they signed a contract that didn't make any sense to me and for a lot of money. So, but in any event, we won't have that. We won't have rec facilities. We'll be cutting grass and we'll be maintaining the basin. And, if there's an outfall structure, we'll have to maintain that and clean it out periodically. So it shouldn't be a big dollar item to maintain the 1.8 acre lot.
That were those concerns I would have.
That's for a future meeting, though.
Yeah.
Right. Again, if this were approved, we'll hopefully back to see you in March or April and go through the major subdivision.
So you're looking to come back rather quickly?
I think so. I mean, it all depends on how much more has to be done. I really would like to send before I file, have a pre-application meeting with Vina and the engineer and just, have them take a look. And then if they see anything, we revise it before we submit it. So we're not, we're not getting, we don't have lengthy review memos at the time we submit. But that's up to them. They may not have time for a pre-app.
Okay. All right. Any more questions from the rest of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions.
Okay, Mr. Lauer, shoot.
Okay. Well, one of the questions that Mr. Makis asked about foundations, and on your drawing, it actually shows an existing barn on lot 2911 on your drawing. So I don't know if there's a foundation there for that. But-
Sharif, do you remember that there is a small barn on either 29, current lot 29 or 30? Do you have a recollection of what's there?
Yeah, so at the time when we surveyed the lot, I would say back in 2014, on tax map lot 29, there was an existing barn all the way in the back. So I'm not sure if the existing barn is still there or not. On lot 30 and portion of lot 14, there is 2 trailers as well as gravel area. And again, that was at the time when we surveyed the lot. So I'm not sure if the 2 trailers still there or not, and the existing barn is still there. But if they're still there, we can make a subject of this application is to remove the trailers and the existing barn.
Okay.
Are these in the nature, Sharif, of construction trailers? I mean, what kind of trailers?
Yeah, it's a mobile trailers. They can be easily removed from the site. I think they were lot 30. They were was used as part of the I would assume that was used part of the construction for Whitingbrook. So maybe they were using that as a staging area.
Okay.
But there is nothing there right now.
Okay.
As far as the, construction is already taking place there in Whitingbrook. So maybe there's a few lots away from this area, but.
So again, these are trailers these are trailers that don't have foundations.
No, the barn, I would say probably on a slab. It's a typical, barn. So that's my assumption, unless it's very, very old barn. It could be just dirt inside. But I would assume that it's an existing slab for now.
Can somebody, sorry, Ed, can somebody verify? Because I recall specifically there was some sort of a foundation of a house on the lot closest to the right. That's lot 30 now, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
would,
just trying to recollect because I remember something of that nature.
It could be, but maybe at the time when we surveyed, the foundation was removed.
Well, when we're, Mr. Chairman, when again, if this were approved, when we're putting together the major, we can go out and do a walk on the site and make sure and tell you what we find, and then all those, the trailers, the barn, anything else would have to be removed because it would be inconsistent with what we're trying to do in terms of the major subdivision. So whatever is out there is not going to be out there very long.
And that's also part of the staff recommendation is to remove the trailers.
And again, it will be part of the proposed application.
Yes.
I have some further questions.
Sure.
Mr. Petrino, could you tell me, with all this open space conversation and discussion, why you didn't just cut that piece out and go for a 3-lot subdivision from the get-go? Is there a reason you didn't do that?
There's probably an engineering reason why we didn't do it. So I would defer to Sharif.
I think it would have made things a lot easier if you just would have cut it right out and said, this is going to be open space.
Well, I think my guess, and Sharif can confirm, my guess is that that lot is getting bigger because of the need to put a detention basin out there. And you don't want to put a basin on an individual lot. You don't want to put it on a house lot. So my guess is maybe I should know the answer, but my guess is the lot got bigger because we need to put a basin on it, and we don't want to put a basin on an individual lot. We want it on
I understand that. I'm just saying you could have created I'm thinking you might have been able to create a separate lot, even if it was a little bigger, in the configuration of that lot 1.
I think when we prepared the minor subdivision, though, we didn't have the layout for the potential major. So it would have been total guess where we put that lot line. So anyway, that's what I think is the case. But, again, Sharif can confirm that.
Yeah, you're right on. We still need to cross lot 1, the open space lot that you're making a reference to, with a roadway. But just to let me give you an idea of what's on lot 1. Lot 1 has got, I would say, about 2/3 of the lot is wetlands, and the other, I would say, the other third is pretty much contained with wetlands buffer. So it kind of like it's already been restricted for wetlands and wetlands buffer. So there is no, the way we have it right now, where we proposing lot 1 to be part of the 29.11, is that's the way we see that it's much better to deal with it that way right now, and we can deal with the open space. As a matter of fact, we are increasing lot 1 from 1.4 acres to 1.8 acres of open space.
Okay. My other question is, I noticed that your 50-foot front setback along Palomino kind of dies off, and in the back of or to the left of lot 2911, it kind of dies off when it comes down to that lot 1. My question is, I'm at a disadvantage because you know what the new subdivision is going to look like, and I see that you're looking for a variance on a rear yard setbacks from 50 to 20, and
No, we're not seeking a variance.
Yes.
Yeah, the applicant actually has revised their plan so that they don't require that variance. It was really just an interpretation of what they considered rear yard versus what we considered rear yard, and that was clarified so that there's no variance required.
I thought I saw in the memo was non-conforming.
It was in the memo, but subsequent to issuing the memo, the applicant contacted Vina and our office and indicated that they would revise their plan, and they have revised their plan to not require that variance.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Steve.
So I think I'm having a little bit of trouble because of the fact is that I'm over the year that this has been going on, there's been changes that have taken place. I recall, and I could be wrong, but I recall 2 buildings wanting to be built on that other parcel across parcel 30 with a driveway trying to come out onto that Palomino. I don't have it up in front of us. And now there's some more changes, and Eddie's touched upon some other points that we're not aware of. So I just wanted to put that on tape. And if any other members have any questions or comments or concerns, that's where I'm at.
Again, all we're creating tonight is 2 lots, and I think the reference to the 4 lots is to the 4 existing lots. Every plan I've seen for the major subdivision that you haven't seen, but every plan I've seen has either been 5 or 6 lots. So I'm not sure, what the issue is.
So it's the major subdivision that's been added into this, where we were originally talking about just the 2 lots across the way. To clarify
that. The minor is creating 2 lots. I'm not sure what your reference to 2 lots across the way.
Where the barn is.
No, I've never since I've been involved with this since the beginning, and it's
Okay.
always been, you know, a major subdivision of 5 or 6 lots. I don't,
All right, great, thank you.
you know, my memory's not perfect, but it's pretty good, and I don't have that recollection.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, if I can I just maybe provide a clarification. You know, with regard to what's before the board this evening, it is just the minor subdivision with the lot line adjustments and movements where we're creating 2 new lots. So if the while there is talk right now about a future major subdivision application, that's not before the board. If the applicant never comes before the board with a future major subdivision application, all the board will be creating this evening is the 2 lots with the deed and easement restrictions on the portions of the property as identified on the plans. So if they never come back before us, all they can build is basically 2 residential lots and, you know, one on a very large piece of property. Unless they go for some type of commercial or something that requires site plan approval. But either way, any building on the new lot 2911 would require them to come back before the board, and we would have to have an application one way or the other, whether subdivision or site plan or so forth. The only really buildable lot, you know, that they would be creating by this application is the lot 1411 that is located on the on Palomino Drive. But I just want to clarify that is what is being considered by the board, requested by the board this evening. I just don't want it to get too down the rabbit hole on the major subdivision because that's not before us. We don't have the information before us. The professionals haven't reviewed that yet. We're talking about whether it's 5 or 6. It may be, you know, we don't know what it's going to look like after we review it. It may be modified in different ways. You know, we can't really judge that until it comes before the board.
Yeah, and we just have to make it clear that this approval has no bearing whatsoever on the future major subdivision approval.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to make sure that's clear.
Right,
that
that's what I want.
Subdivision
That's
approval,
why I
we're
want to
not
get some
approving the
clarification.
major. They have to come back and it's going to be subject to full review. And while they're talking about it might be potentially 6 lots, it may not. We don't know until we see it. And then it's going to be subject to our review and the board's approval.
Yeah, it may work, it may not. Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. And
That's
no
why-
approval this evening is granting any approvals with regard to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
the only,
And we understand that.
yeah, the only thing I would like to add in is just that we aren't creating a situation in which we're going to have to try to, I don't know, resolve in the future. That it's pretty straightforward what they maybe come back with and that it would work. That we're not going to create a hardship that we somehow the township is going to have to deal with. I mean, it doesn't
No,
appear that, but you know.
No, understandably, and they're not entitled to what we talk about 6 lots. That's why I was referencing, we don't know what it may be. They may want 6 lots, but they may require a bunch of variances to make it, and we might not grant it. They may only be able to build 4 lots. It wouldn't be creating the hardship. It would be, we're just creating this one new large lot, 2911, and what they can propose and request to the board, they can do so, and we'll evaluate it when it comes before us.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to clarify is that somewhat of that confusion there.
Yeah, we don't want to blur the lines where they come back and based on this approval,
Right.
expecting, you know, a full approval on the major that we really know nothing about yet. Just you know, preliminary.
We are not going to argue in the future that because you approve the minor, that you agreed to approve a 6, 5, or any other major subdivision for that lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
the
not
future
our
subdivision.
intent.
Comfortable.
That's not our intent, and we, you know, we'll tell you tonight, we will not make that argument.
Right. Yeah, the future subdivision is going to have to stand on its own merits.
Absolutely.
Just one, and I know we don't want to talk about the future application, but just to go back to what Mr. Memekis was saying about what may have been on this property in the past. I was just taking a look on historicaerials.com, a pretty handy website, and it appears that there were some buildings there. It looks like they've been removed. But how that gets handled is as part of that future subdivision, if and when it gets submitted, the applicant's going to be required to submit a phase 1 site assessment, which will take into consideration all these things that were on the site before.
Right.
And will require documentation of what was done with those buildings, whether they were demolished, removed in their entirety, whether there were any heating oil tanks associated with those septic systems, any of those things that were associated with those prior structures that were on site. and that'll all get fleshed out and handled as part of any future application that applicant may submit.
Excellent.
Thank you, Rakesh. Yeah, I didn't want to go down again a rabbit hole using Joe's terminology there, but looking back in the past and thinking of what was proposed, but I could be incorrect. But the main thing is that the board be able to look at this. You mind, Mr. Chairman, if I just mention one thing to some of our newer members, as the planning board, as a member, you are able to go out to any site that you want to see that we're going to be looking at, and go out and see it for yourself. So just be aware of that. You can go out there and check.
Yeah, we recommend it as well.
Before we get to the meeting.
Yeah, we recommend it as well.
Right.
Get yourself familiar with what's going on out there.
Since
you mentioned that, I actually drove by the site the other day. There is the barn on lot 29. It looks like terracotta block construction, so there probably is some kind of substantial footing to that. Story and a half, 2-story garage. The trailers are still there that I saw from the street. There's some stone driveways that look like they were used in the past for like a construction zone. So the lot definitely needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Also, like Rakesh said, what was there in the past, septic systems, oil tanks, that, it's really concerning. Somebody's looking to buy a new house, and then they have a major problem on their hands in the future. So I want to keep that in mind.
That would be part of the phase 1 and phase 2, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, it would be part of the phase 1. We don't know.
Phase 1. Phase 2 would be if there's something that needs to be remediated, and that would get into a phase 2 evaluation to delineate those areas. But that's again, well, there's a successive process that has to be followed.
Yep.
After listening to all the questions, I don't think we're going to see you in March.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything from anyone else? And if not, I'll put it to motion.
Actually, we need to open it up to the public for questions and comments. With regard to
Correct. Okay, so Vina, can we open it up to the public?
I see no raised hands.
And in the past, we've given about 3 minutes?
1 minute.
It's about a 30 to 45 second delay.
Yeah.
Right.
Even on the council meetings as well, we give it about 45 seconds to a minute and a half based off of it.
See, I'm trying to be nice here. You guys aren't letting me.
3 minutes is a real long time.
Were there notifications of the meeting to the surrounding areas, or this was a non-notification? Do we know?
On?
This was a minor subdivision, so there was no notice required.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are a number of people that I see on the call itself. So if anyone is on the phone and they do wish to raise their hand and you're called in, press *9 and that'll raise your hand and then you'll be able to speak.
Now we starting the clock over again?
No, just making sure we're being transparent. Just
I'll get my 3 minutes.
Folks are on the phone and they don't know how to raise their hand for whatever reason.
We have one raised hand.
Marina?
Hi, yes, thank you. My question is for February 2nd, do we use the same webinar ID and password as today to call back in for that Foxborough planning?
The questions right now are only for this application, and any questions relating to the this application, the witnesses that were presented But to answer your question, I believe a new login information is going to be provided for that meeting. It will be on the website. It will be on the agenda. And I will be discussing with the applicant how to get that information out to the property owners as well.
Okay, my apologies for interrupting the other person. I was waiting to ask that question. I didn't realize till the end because you mentioned that you weren't going to mail or notify us for February 2nd. We should just be prepared to get on, and I want to make sure we all know how to get on.
I understand. It's a kind of a different world now with working in virtual, because typically, you just appear, so no notice is legally required. But because we're in a virtual world, I will be discussing that with the applicant's attorney tomorrow, because we do have to get that information out to the public.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other hands up?
We have no raised hands.
Okay, so if there's nothing else from anyone, I'll put it to motion. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, do you want me to summarize the application and some of the conditions?
Yes. Sure.
A motion to approve would be granting the minor subdivision application as requested. It would be subject to the testimony provided, specifically with regard to the open space. The prior would be prior lot 1 with regard to deed restricting any future subdivision, keeping it as open space, subject to application to the Township Committee for dedication of same. With regard to lot 1411, there will be a similar deed restriction from any future subdivision, and that a conservation easement will be provided for the portion of lot 1 that is along Colorado Boulevard, as I indicated on the plans. There was I apologize. The board, the applicant did agree to comply with the technical and planning comments in the board professionals reports. We went and will comply as discussed during the public hearing with the remainder of the report. And I believe that is all I have, because as recall, just make sure the board is aware that this is only for a vote of approval would only be for the minor subdivision being provided now, and has no effect or no approval with regard to any future subdivision or site plan approval that may be filed, even if it was discussed during this application. No approvals being granted in connection with this motion. It would only be the subdivision approval that's pending before the board, creating new lot 2911 and new lot 1411.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add one thing to the attorney's comments.
Sure.
From my understanding, lot 2911 will now include lot 1 at 1.8 acres.
No, that would be part of the major subdivision. Lot 2911 right now would be 5.25 acres, subject to further subdivision.
That's correct, but you said lot 1 is going to increase from 1.4 up to 1.8. So
when the major subdivision occurs.
So within 2911 will be 1.8 dedicated to open space.
Yes, if I may, 2911 will contain a conservation easement, which will encompass what is now currently known as lot 1.
At 1.8 acres.
That's correct.
No, at 1.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Part of that open conservation will actually be on lot 14.11 as well. So the total conservation area is 1.8 acres. And it'll be contained on both lot 2911 and lot 14.11.
Right, but the conservation area or open space area on the large lot is 1.4, which is the current acreage of lot 1.
That's correct. And that's to be effectuated as part of this minor subdivision. So just to answer Mr. Rena's question, that conservation area is part of this minor subdivision.
Yes, this should be clear. There is not going to be a lot one. There's only going to be two lots if approved. There's going to be lot 1401 and there's going to be, 1411 and lot 2911. But the prior portion of what is lot one currently that's going to be included in the two new lots will be preserved as conservation area. The portion with regard to 2901, there was discussion of that's going to potentially change in connection with the new application, but that's not before the board tonight. Tonight, if approved, they'll just be created two new lots, lot 2911, lot 1411, and the portions that are of existing lot one that will be included in the two new lots will be still continue subject to open space, whether conservation easement or deed restriction.
That's correct.
I have a question.
Joe, I have a question too. Ed, go ahead.
Will there no need for a variance anymore on the rear setback? Is that part of the new comments, and will that go into the record?
Yes.
No variance is being requested as part of this approval. It was stated by the applicant's attorney. It was confirmed by the board's professionals, and it is not going to. No variance is going to be included in any approval granted by the board.
Okay, thank you.
Joe, in order to comply with the prior approval, I had included that the applicant would have to offer the existing lot one to the township council to be maintained for open space, and the council would deny it. So I think the condition should be that the applicant shall obtain the township council resolution or ordinance denying the acceptance of the open space on existing lot one. So that should be a condition of approval as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I apologize. I kind of summarized over that quickly, but as Vina has stated, it will be the correct terminology for the condition.
Okay, we're all summarized. Anything else, Mr. Sordillo or Vina?
Nothing for me.
I think we covered. We're good.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so now, no further ado, I will put it to a motion. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Lauer
Second.
and second by Mr. Lenning.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renner,
No.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis? Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Mamakis?
Sorry, yes, with the conditions.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. Lenning,
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Ms. Cannon,
Yes.
Chairman Marucci?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Will there be a well, I don't know. I can just, I can represent the DEP that,
We will need a transcript so that my board attorney can prepare a resolution.
okay. I believe the court reporter is there and heard you. So you are authorized and requested to promptly prepare a transcript.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else from anyone? Okay, do I have a motion to close out the meeting?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I noticed it wasn't on the agenda this time but we do need to open up for general public comment because every public meeting has to have a general public comment period.
Okay, I don't.
General public comment?
Comment regarding what?
Any questions that the public may have, whether it be, just questions on the meeting, the meeting dates, an application that might have been adjourned that, is no longer on it.
Never had that before.
Yeah, we've never done that before.
Never done that.
I mean, it's fine. I just never.
Fine, yeah.
It's a tech, usually with planning boards, you know, you have a lot of, it's only the applications, you have public hearings on each application, but because this is a reorganization meeting, we really should have, we did other business that's not related to a public hearing on an application. So it was my recommendation that we just hold it open up to general public questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Again, in this virtual world.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give about 45 seconds to a minute again.
And which my thought on this, Mr. Chairman, is the fact that we did have a question that came up during the other application that was more of a general question. So I just want to make sure if anyone else on the line, you know, had any questions like that they could raise it.
Good idea. Understood. Thank you. Okay, do we see any hands up?
No hands have been raised.
Okay, I think we've given sufficient time.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'll move it.
Make a motion.
Okay,
I'll
moved by
second.
Mr. Fick and second by Mrs. Cannon. Okay, everybody, thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Happy New Year's, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.